And we're back. Welcome to All Things Fisker and a very happy new year to you. This is episode 37 and we are live on YouTube. Thank you for joining us. We've got some exciting updates for you today. Please press the like button now if you haven't already done so to show your appreciation, and subscribe to the Fiskerati channel for more videos. And there's going to be a lot of videos coming up, so hit that subscribe button. And as you may know, if you have joined us before, I'm Sean, your host of All Things Fisker, but I'm joined tonight by two hopefully familiar faces. Matt from Ocean Views, who has been publishing, I must say, some super helpful YouTube videos for Fisker Ocean owners. So thank you very much, Matt. Go ahead and hit share your link to your YouTube channel. Yeah. And then we have Mike, who's joining us for the very first time. I've been watching his channel, reached out to him, and he is joining us tonight. Hopefully we see him in the future. But Mike has a channel as well on YouTube called Fisker Ocean Specialist, and he cranks out lots of content. It looks like at least a video a day. So he's enjoying his hobby on YouTube like all three of us are. So welcome, Mike. Thanks for joining Matt and myself tonight. Great to have you. Yeah, absolutely. And how are you
seeing y'all?
Yeah. How are you guys doing tonight? You guys doing pretty good? Have a good Christmas break or holiday break?
Sure did.
Good.
Yeah, I went to the mountains, so spent time with the family there and missed my ocean. I'm still pretty early in the ownership process, so I was just thinking about
Hey, I'm the same. I'm the same, and I've only had it since July. So I'm coming up here on 6 months, I believe. I think it's 6 months, somewhere around there. Cool. Well, tonight's episode should be a good one. We haven't done this, Matt and I haven't done this for about like 6 weeks or so. So we're going to get back into the swing of things. We're going to try something a little different tonight, but we're going to take you through a lot of cool things that have happened this year already. One of them is a brand new special edition Fisker Ocean. We just learned about that today, and I actually learned about it from Matt's post to the Fiskerati forum. So thanks, Matt. I've been busy today dealing with a sick child at home, so that's what I've been doing. I haven't done too much Fisker-related things today, but you heard that correct. There is another variant of the Fisker Ocean, so more on that in just a bit. Then we're going to talk about Fisker Ocean meetups that are happening across the United States. And it may not seem like a big deal to a lot of people, but I'll explain why it is a big deal. And then we're going to go ahead and unpack one of the biggest Fisker pivots since we've been covering the company. There's a bunch of things to discuss since our last episode, and all of it should make for what I hope is an exciting discussion. So tonight, we're going to go ahead and jump right into the discussion. And how about we kick things off with the Fisker Ocean Monterey? How does that sound, Mike and Matt?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. I'm going to throw up a photo here. At least starting off, I'll throw up one photo here. And this photo, let's see here, share my screen. This photo's kind of interesting. Let's see here. Okay, we're going to start off with this one as we pull it up here. There's actually 4 photos we're going to have a look at. The first one is of Henrik Fisker and a journalist sunbathing on the Fisker Ocean. So this one's kind of interesting to see. So here we go. All right, there they are. I don't know what beach it is, but they are in front of a Fisker Ocean. What I believe, Matt, is in the exterior color sun-soaked. And if I zoom in on this, we should start to see some interesting details. Matt might actually have some better photos than myself, but this one I thought was interesting. If you look very closely at the interior, you can see there is something new about this Fisker Ocean Monterey. The interior looks totally redone. The seats look completely different than the existing Fisker Ocean or Fisker Ocean 1. The headrest has a different shape, and the color scheme is different. It's kind of like a sea salt meets, I don't know, woody-esque colors. It's pretty interesting. Now we're going to go ahead and have a look at another one, which I actually think kind of gives away the whole interior, at least a really interesting portion of it. It reminds me of a very high-end, luxurious design in the dash. So if we zoom in on this one, you see a lot of very warm wooden colors. You have Henrik Fisker. Let's see here. Oh, it didn't come through. Let's see. The one right here has a lot of warm accents of wood throughout the dash, and I think it looks really beautiful. It looks not sure if it's reclaimed wood or what, but Henrik Fisker driving on the freeway in Los Angeles. What do you guys think of this? Have you had a chance to kind of take a deep dive on this, or just wrap your head around why they're coming out with another variant of the Fisker Ocean? Maybe just another option to boost sales? I'm not sure. What do you guys think?
Well, when I saw it, or go ahead.
Oh, well, I was just going to say, I really was attracted to the Alaska for that reason. When I saw these kind of warm colors on the inside, and in the past, I respect Rivian a lot, and they do some of this, and I think they're combining some of that personality with nature, and just tying that into the same kind of theme that they've been attracted to this whole time, which is the sustainable. And it's definitely an artist. It's an artist design because of the contrast.
You are totally right on that. I remember seeing the Fisker Alaska at the Product Vision Day, and that actually featured a lot of wood grain interior accents. Let's go ahead and throw up the photos from the Alaska, and we can have a quick look at that. Let's go ahead and see this one here. Here is the Fisker Alaska, and you can see if I scroll down to this gallery down here, this is what Mike is talking about right here.
I just love that.
Yeah, it does look beautiful. In person, it looks even better than the photos. All the Fisker Ocean vehicles, in my opinion, look better in person than they do in photos or videos, but they still look beautiful, obviously, in photos. So what are your thoughts, Matt? What'd you think of this? You're the one that spotted these this morning.
Yeah. I saw this, and it got me thinking of about a year ago when we saw some of the early editions, pre-production, that had different interior colors. And it makes me think that they may offer, in addition to the current, 4 interiors, maybe a 5th interior, and that this is, maybe it's just included in the special edition version, but maybe it will be available to everybody. So at some point. But it does look interesting. I noticed that the wood is on the back of the center console as well as the dash. It's hard to tell the seats. I mean, from the rear view here, the seats look the same.
They do look the same from the back with this little ocean wave breaking, but the front of them, on the photo that you shared with in the forum, there was definitely more breathable looking, mesh-ish looking material, which is something we haven't seen in any of the interiors yet. So that'll be interesting to see when Fisker discloses more details about this. Right now, we don't really know anything about this. Let me throw up another photo, though. This one is of Nadia, who is a Fisker designer. She, I believe, is a director over at Fisker. I got a chance to meet her in Graz, Austria, but also met her at the PEAR unveiling during the LA Auto Show. And she's shown here speaking to that journalist from, I believe, Europe, and talking about various elements, design elements on the interior for this Monterey special edition. And what's kind of interesting, I still haven't, you probably know, Matt, myself, I haven't quite figured out what that is, I can see the wooden accent over here on the right. If I zoom in far enough, it looks like some panel here. But what do you think this is right here? Is this like the, I don't know, an armrest, or what do you think these components are right here? I have no idea. Like you can store something in it, whatever it is.
Yeah, I haven't really seen them up close, so it's hard to say if they're.
And that shape does not look familiar.
No.
No, it almost to me looks like like you were saying, the armrest where the switch could be in that small rectangle area in the front, and then you have the compartment behind. But it almost might be too wide for that if it were to be on the door.
Yeah, definitely. Don't know, but yeah, here's some different design elements. So there's Nadia talking about that. Henrik Fisker's looking at her wearing what looks like maybe a new Fisker jacket. Who knows? But let's go ahead and take a look at the other one. This one is, let's see here. Let me throw this one in here. This one is kind of interesting too. It reveals something going on the computer, and maybe there's a story to this one which we don't know about. But the other designer, you can see her off to the far left of this particular photo, and her name is Sun Hee, and I met her as well at that Fisker PEAR event. She's standing there probably listening about design. If I zoom in further on this particular photo, you can see what appears to be the front of the Fisker Ocean is my guess. And it looks like a different wheel design, which I haven't seen before from the looks of the fuzzy photo. But they're looking at some sort of design. There's certainly a lot of space in between the tire and the wheel well, top of the wheel well. But there's got to be some other design elements here that we can't see. On the computer on the far left, if you can see that one, it's the Fisker PEAR. And it also is the Fisker PEAR probably that we saw over in Los Angeles at the Grove with that sun-soaked color, much like the sun-soaked color that we saw today for the Fisker Ocean Monterey. So some cool photos, and these were broke by, or shared, doesn't sound right, but this breaking news was shared by the journalist from Europe who was there for an interview, and they got to interview Henrik Fisker, probably talking about the Fisker Ocean, maybe talking about the dealership model that Fisker is heading to. So that kind of leads us into the next topic, the new dealer partnership model. I'm going to share some details on that for those that don't know about it, and we can talk about it. This one kind of caught me off guard. Fisker expects to have approximately 100 dealer locations in both Europe and North America coming up here maybe this year. The interesting thing about this is kind of a deviation from the direct-to-consumer model that Fisker has been using to date. Now, Fisker expects to send its first Fisker Ocean vehicles to new dealers by the end of Q1 2024. So that would be by the end of March of this year. So just a couple, 2.5 months time. Fisker's making this move to align with its asset-light business model and to scale for significant acceleration of Fisker Ocean deliveries and higher volume production of additional future models. So that would be our Fisker Alaska pickup truck. It would be the Fisker PEAR, the urban mobility device. And then in Europe, which presumably this journalist is out in Southern California for to learn about, Fisker is going to continue to offer its direct sales channel or sales model there, but will also bring on sales and distribution partners. So Fisker plans to deploy some sort of a no-haggle pricing. They're going to end up having large territories, at least here in the United States, to create competitiveness. And what do you guys think of this when you heard this? You're Fisker Ocean owners. People probably going through the Fisker Ocean purchase process now. You yourselves have gone through the purchase process at Fisker, and you heard about dealerships. I'm sure both of you have bought many cars in the past, probably at dealers, maybe even other companies that offer direct to consumer. What are your thoughts on this?
I've actually thought about this one a lot, and that term or that word dealership, I think it could be spun several different directions. And hear me out with this. So here in Jacksonville, Florida, and I'm sure it's the same in every state, Tesla gathers all these Teslas up into a single large parking lot. And if you're interested in purchasing one, you can come to this parking lot, meet with a Tesla rep, and purchase the vehicle right there. That could be construed as a dealership because you're still meeting with someone, you're doing the paperwork on the spot, but it's a holding point. And I would almost wonder if that is kind of the same direction they're going. It's a low infrastructure, low overhead, lack of brick and mortar, but still getting all these Fiskers into one area where you don't have that. I want it now, but I have to wait for the 1 month of seed time plus prep time and getting all that ready. So I wonder if it's just a parking lot. That would be, honestly, in my opinion, better.
I got some ideas here. One of the problems in, for example, my state of North Carolina is that if you want to have an independent, non-dealership sales model, you can't do it unless you have a law created. Tesla had to have a law passed to sell cars. So each company has to come in and have a law created, which is hugely difficult to do. By using the dealership in many of these states that have the dealership franchise laws, it may be a much easier way for them to sell the vehicles. I did a video 2 weeks ago on VinFast. I'm not sure if you're familiar. They're another new company from Vietnam. They just announced a week before Fisker that they are also doing the franchise dealership in the US with 120 dealerships. And the very first one is in my metro area. So I got to visit them. And what's interesting, and I think if Fisker does the same thing, it's basically they have a large dealership site that has a company that has 5 or 6 dealerships in an empty building. Well, they gave VinFast one of the empty buildings to use. And from what it seems like, they have several cars in there. People can look at them. It's supposed to be no haggle pricing. There's a list price and that's it. So I got a really good feeling that that is going to be the same idea that Fisker is going to do. It's going to allow them to have the service centers in metro areas almost immediately because there's a lot of these dealerships that have empty showrooms. Because over the years, some of the brands have disappeared and there's just empty ones. If everybody remembers Saturn and some of those other brands that all disappeared. So that's what I'm thinking is possible. So I'm taking it as a very positive sign. I know dealerships have a negative connotation with taking advantage of people with the sales process and being with service and some things like that. But I don't know. I'm going to try to be positive about it and think that this is definitely an improvement because I don't think Fisker has the finances to open all of these centers that they want to open. One thing I want to ask you, Sean, is do you think all the centers that are already open are going to stay open as just centers that are going to be useful for the company? I think it's going to be hybrid.
I asked the same question to Fisker, and I ended up hearing that more to come on this. I have my own interpretation on it, and I do believe they're going to keep them open to help train existing or train dealerships that are interested in becoming salesmen, salespeople for the Fisker Ocean. They can come to the lots, the existing Center Plus lounges. Those will also be like models to show people what their little Center Plus within a dealership could look like potentially. It's going to be, they're going to continue to be open to use as, brand building, centers. So I think they're going to stay, and
How about
they're in
this?
hotbeds too. They're in hotbeds too. So Southern California has a ton of Fisker Ocean owners. I've heard of actually, and I haven't seen Fisker announce it yet, but I do know of a couple other Fisker Ocean, Fisker Center Pluses that I believe may open still. So if those open, I believe that we will see all of them stay. I just want to add one more point to what you said, Matt, about sales bans of kind of like the dealership, direct to consumer model versus dealerships. And there's, I believe, 13 states. I think it's Alabama, South Carolina, New Mexico, West Virginia, Kansas, Louisiana, Texas, Wisconsin, Nebraska, Iowa, Oklahoma. May have said Connecticut or Arkansas, but there's a bunch of states that will not allow direct to consumer, direct sales. So if Fisker wants to, expand beyond where they're at now and try to generate as many sales as possible, having dealerships in all these areas potentially lets them get in there overnight. Granted, they probably have to go through licensing and all sorts of other obstacles, because I'm sure there's government obstacles for selling anything vehicle wise, from the little bit that I know about it. So I believe it's going to be a positive thing. It'll be a good thing. We should see hopefully more Fisker Ocean sales. I think that's, I personally believe Fisker didn't include their 2024 sales targets, their production targets, sales targets for 2024 at the end of December 2023, like they said they were going to do, because maybe they wanted to see how this dealership, this dealership model kind of pans out. How much interest do they get before they can commit to their production and delivery numbers? So that's my guess. That's all speculation, but I think it's going to be a positive thing. And there is a new page on the Fisker website. If you scroll to the very bottom of fiskerinc.com, there is a section now specifically called Retail Partnerships. And believe it or not, guess which one that they feature? They feature a bunch of photos and stuff, but they actually feature the San Diego, or what I call the San Diego Center Plus, Fisker Center Plus San Diego, but it actually, they call it Fisker Center Plus Vista. And here is the partnerships, the retail partnership page, if you guys haven't seen it. So it's, you can contact a sales representative. It gives you more information on this page than the press release did, I thought. So it's actually pretty cool. If you haven't seen that, check it out. Pretty neat that they're doing this. This looks like the Denmark Center Plus, whereas this one up here is the Vista one. But yeah, pretty neat. I'm excited about it. What else do you think? Sorry for interrupting you just a moment ago, Matt, but you got to get those thoughts out real quick.
Yeah, sure. Another thing I was thinking of is a mobile service. Now, if they can do training at the Fisker facilities for the mobile service technicians and then have them go across the country where they need to go, that's probably also another good thing about having the Fisker facilities. Because I'm sure they're still going to need mobile service is going to be very important.
Super important.
In my state, that's the only way we're able to get anything because of that. So,
and Fisker's been doing a service blitz now for the last, I don't know, month and a half, or at least a month and a half, maybe 2 months or so, where it's like all hands on deck. Technicians are going here, there, and everywhere. I believe, Mike, you've had somebody come to your house. You've also had somebody come to your house, Matt. What do you guys think about that experience? I've had a mobile service tech. I think I've shared my experience previously, but what are your guys' impressions of that? What'd you think?
Yeah, I was first, it was almost like having a celebrity at my house, just because I had seen this guy on so many people's Facebook posts on the Fisker official group, and I'm like, whoa, how you flew in to to come check on my Ocean? And he's like, well, I actually live here in Jacksonville, Florida. And I was like, that's great that these specialists, these technicians are living so close in these huge cities, San Diego, Jacksonville, Houston, Texas. I know there's been one in Atlanta. Sean, which was his name, has also said that he has flown around the United States collecting some miles to help other Fisker owners out. And he had a great attitude. His little laptop had so much power. And that's one of the things that I just loved about the whole experience is from that laptop, he could basically cure the Ocean or re-baseline it back to the stages where everything's back good to go, as well as get people updated. And, I said this in one of my videos, I wish everybody could get the Sean and just quote unquote that style of service yesterday. I wish there was enough of them going around that they could get everybody taken care of, get their doggy windows coming up, get the solar sky opening up appropriately. I want that for everybody. And I was just so impressed if they can produce enough of them. And he had a lot of experience. I'm not sure what I'm allowed to say with his work experience, but, he was a highly experienced technician that was now working for Fisker, and great attitude, professional, open to photos. So as long as, I didn't catch certain aspects of the screen, but I will tell you, what they're able to do with the Ocean makes people feel very comfortable. And that's why I said, me personally, I wish I could get him, if I had the power to get him to everybody.
You need to replicate Sean the technician across all the United States. Yeah, I hear
absolutely.
that. Yeah,
absolutely.
What was your take, Matt?
Yeah, I want to add that I had a technician. His name was Cameron. He came all the way from Maryland to service the whole, central North Carolina and eastern North Carolina area. He was also excellent. I spent 2 hours with him. He took all the time in the world to get everything fixed that I needed done. And any questions I had, super helpful, super knowledgeable. He has only worked for them for a month. His experience is in EVs and hybrids with a couple other companies. And I really wanted to do an interview with him and do a video, but he just wasn't comfortable with that, being a new employee. And I totally understand. I've had experiences with mobile techs for Tesla, and they don't really want to get in trouble with anything. So, but I must say he was super, super helpful. His laptop, like Mike said, has all the different modules in the system. He can tell the version numbers. He can update things, see the activity, and all that. So I thought he did a great job. I got my Windows calibrated. That was the big thing with mine. And really, I didn't have a whole lot of issues. It was just the window calibration for the California mode and the doggy windows, and a couple of paint. He's also an excellent paint and polish, and he knows how to use all the tools to get your paint looking great. So he took care of that for me. And yeah, I must say, and he did say that they are looking for people with EV experience, and it's hard to find technicians that are able to travel and to do that. So it is going to be a process, and if they can get more like Sean and Cameron, that'll be excellent. So got definitely a great experience with the mobile tech.
That's great to hear. That's really good to hear. And I personally keep seeing more and more of those positive experiences, even while people, at least on the 3 or 4 forums that I monitor, complain all the time. There are nuggets of positivity and forward progress, which I love to see. And I read practically almost every post that comes on to the Fisker Audi forum. And people keep rehashing some of the same stuff, but the company's moving forward, even though it may not look like it for some, which is a positive thing as an owner. Another thing that I am kind of pleased with, let's kind of talk briefly about software version 1.11, since that kind of dovetails into the customer experience. I right now have software version 1.11 part 1 of part 2. I don't have the full version yet.
Same as me.
Yeah, and I have been very blessed with my Fisker Ocean experience. Maybe it's because it sleeps every night in the garage. Not sure. I put the car to sleep just like I put my wife put our daughter to sleep every night. The car goes to sleep. I charge it a couple times a week. My experience is pretty frustration free. And I don't get all of the bings and bongs, the quirky telltales that I got when I originally got the car, and it's been a really pleasure to drive. Every time I drive the car, I have fun driving the car. It's super fun. Yeah. I have a hard time getting it out of our garage because there's like very little bit of room on each side of the rear wheel wells, since they kind of flare out a bit. But I love it. The software that I have, the surprising thing, in version 1.10, I have a lot of the features that people are now getting in version 1.11 or 1.11 part 1, part 2, whatever it may be. For example, I have the trip section that shows the new position of the odometer. It shows your kilowatts per mile, etc., all that stuff. Wow. That Matt's done a video on. So I have that, and I had that in version 1.10. So that was kind of fun. I also had the ability.
Can I interrupt a second?
Absolutely.
Real quick.
Oh yeah. Feel free.
When I was talking to our tech, he mentioned that there's a whole bunch of different modules that comprise the update. So if something is called 1.11, a 1.11, it could be just missing one module to go to the next level. So some people may have, like you, may have the module for the what do you call it?
For the trips section,
the trip
or the Wi-Fi, or the Wi-Fi.
I don't have that.
Whatever.
Yeah, I don't have that module on mine. So some people may or may not, but hopefully by the time you get part 2, everything gets updated to the latest.
Correct. And for those that follow along on the forum, you may have seen a post of mine where it shows a list of every module that needs to be updated in your Fisker Ocean. I posted it twice, I think now. It'd probably be interesting to pin somewhere, but there's literally dozens of modules. And when we look at all the different modules together, they combine and they create like a marketing package, which Fisker talks about. Version 1.11 is the marketing package of all these software modules that need to be updated. So it's just an easier way to talk about, because they're crazy numbers. Like we all saw the ICCAPK of like 1.11.27, whatever the number was. That thing has changed a bunch for people. That's only one module of many that need to be updated. And now that we're starting to all get on the same version, we're all starting to see the same marketing version number that appears in the software section of our Fisker Ocean, which is hopefully soon for everybody going to be version 1.11. So yeah, what is your take, Mike, on the some of the new features that you've seen? I saw you made a video of all the different software features.
First, I don't know how I got so lucky. You guys have had your Oceans longer, and you're in, much more well-known. Well, at least Sean, I know you're in the mother hub of pretty much Fisker. So I just honestly feel blessed to be sporting 1.11 2 of 2. But my take is, it is, I think the speed increased, and this might just be a trick of the mind, but when we were doing the EV review yesterday, he owns a Mustang Mach-E. He was actually impressed. And, I don't hold any ill will against any EV. So I was equally impressed with his, and as he was talking about the Ocean, he was impressed with the speed of the screen, and he's like, it's not perfect, but it's actually comfortable. And I said, I actually personally believe that came from the calibration of the modules in 1.11 2 of 2. The trips, I personally have not used it a lot. I think it's cool. I'm an obsessed person with the sound system and Spotify. I just, prior to this, I used Sirius satellite radio, and having these different options, I think, is actually kind of unique. I don't know if the front parking lines, whether you find that you'll ever use them or not, was available prior to 1.11, but my wife actually discovered that, and we did a little video short where
I saw that.
Yeah, we were pulling into a melting pot, and she's just like, "Oh, let me push the front camera," So she's just playing with the high definition cameras, and the lines started moving. I said, "Wait a second." I said, "This has the lines in the front as well as the back," and it was just all these little neat things I've never seen on another vehicle before. And like you and Matt, most of us in this chat right now have owned a diverse amount of vehicles, and I think for me, every single update that Fisker is going to come out with, especially, I can't wait for 2.0. Like it's just, that's the next Christmas. And I think that's the best part about an EV in general. The Fisker Ocean, especially being so early in the software, it's something where if we're looking at the glass half empty, we could say, well, the software is premature. But guess what? We get to literally grow up with this car. And when everything is presented in front of us, when it's activated, it's going to be even more exciting because of that. You didn't just walk right into it. So at least that's how I think. And
I'm right there with you. With you. I have loved every update and unlocking new features. It's fun to see new stuff added, and the anticipation of what could be next, like hill hold or auto hold. That's a a popular one. The trip meter, believe it or not, at the first Fisker meetup that happened over at the Grove. There might have been, I don't know, say 40 or 50 people. It was like a big software update at La Palma, and we bussed us over there to the Grove, had lunch, and they talked to us, the executives, and one of the requests was trip meters. So that one must have been low-hanging fruit, and they thought, okay, boom, we're gonna roll that one out. So it's nice to see. That was back in August, and that I got that feature sometime in December, I think, with the update of 1.10. So that was pretty neat to see. But yeah, I think it's exciting. What are your thoughts, Matt? You've lived the Tesla life for quite a while, and I know you've gone through loads of software updates. What's your anticipation and expectation?
My car is going to be almost 6 years old, my Model 3. And the first year, there was a lot of issues with the software. There was a lot of bugs, a lot of times where the screen went blank for no reason, and, just annoying stuff. And, that's the great thing about over-the-air updates is you can get that stuff sorted out. And that's what I feel is the situation here. And I don't have any doubt that it's going to get fixed. And so far, I'm waiting for part 2 because I wish I had the trip screens last weekend because I took a long trip. I did a video coming out soon. That's going to be the 70 mile per hour, 100% to 0% test. And that was a big one. So I just had to do everything manually. I just had to go old school and keep track of the odometer and just and do the calculation of it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the new features.
Very cool. Yeah, that should be quite fun, and I believe we're going to end up getting a couple more here in the not too distant future. So that's pretty exciting. Speaking of, I think Mike, you ended up bringing up the Fisker Ocean stereo system, and you said that you used Sirius a bunch. One update for everybody here, and I know Paul is watching us live right now. So thanks, Paul, for joining. He's the first person to attend a Fisker Ocean owner meetup with me over in Rancho Santa Fe. So that was quite fun, and he's following along on the chat right now for those that are joining us at home. But Paul had a chance to actually attend CES 2024, and if you aren't familiar with CES, it's the Consumer Electronics Show. You typically need it's typically closed to the public. You need to be like a vendor or have some business entity that gets you tickets. Sometimes tickets are free. Yeah, journalists. Sometimes tickets are free, or you get like if you work at a big company, or if you score one from a friend. Who knows? But I've been there a handful of times, and the Fisker Ocean right now is being featured at the Panasonic Automotive's booth. In that booth, there's one more day left of the CES 2024. If you want to go to that and you can score a ticket, it's at booth 17609 or 17609 in Central Hall at the Las Vegas Convention Center. Fisker's actually with Panasonic. They're doing live demos of ELS Studio 3D and the premium audio sound. And I don't want to totally quote Paul, who's joining us. I'm sure he can chat about it in the chat. I know he's written a bunch about it 2 days ago on the forum, but he enjoyed and had a much better audio experience from what he heard at CES in the Fisker Ocean during the live demo than what he has in his Fisker Ocean one that he owns now. So I thought that was actually pretty cool to hear that. As I know we've had some people complain about the bass and it not being bassy enough, and that's probably the wrong way to describe it from an audiophile's perspective. But he ended up basically saying that he had a really good experience, and hopefully he ends up getting that similar experience as we all do. And I'll add a note to that. When I was over at the Grove with Tommaso, who's also in the forum, he was my +1, and we ended up going to listen to Henrik talk about the PEAR that was there over at the Grove in Las Vegas during the auto show. We got to see in Alaska a PEAR, but they also had a Fisker Ocean in the back, and that event was sponsored by Panasonic Automotive, and they had people giving live demos over in the back of the Fisker lounge at the Grove. And I overheard somebody say that there is going to be an update to the audio system. They're making improvements to make it, I don't want to use their words, but it wasn't bassier, but to make the sound even better. So I don't know when that update will come. But I know there's something in the works there. And there are a couple people in the forum who've shared their in-person experience with the people responsible for the audio at Fisker to share their perspective and how things could be improved. So there's more to come on the audio. I think that also will get better with time. So thanks, Paul.
May I add a piece on that?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so when Sean had my door panel off, because
Sean the technician, by the way, for those
Sean
listening.
The technician, thank you. So Sean the technician had my door panel off, and I took a picture of that and put that in the video because I thought that'd be interesting for people to see. And I asked his permission first because I didn't want to be annoying or get myself banned real quick. But one thing I noticed when he had it off, he was working on the door handle. I was studying the speaker a little bit, and the system physically is definitely capable of a lot more bass. It is a quality Panasonic system, and the subwoofer in the back, in the trunk, I think is really tuned down in a safe mode almost. So I would be excited to see if that is a software, like you said. Are you referring to a physical or software adjustment that they are going to make?
It's not going to be physical. It's going to be software.
Okay.
Yep.
That would make sense.
Yeah,
And
it's going to be an over-the-air software update that would enhance the already premium audio sound. It should only get better. I highly doubt they're going to push out something to make it worse. It's only going to improve based on all the feedback that they've been collecting. So that's exciting to me because that's probably one of the most fun things I do. I love cruising down the coast. I love having all the windows down with the heater on and the radio blasting. That's always a fun experience for myself. So yeah, that's something to look forward to. Software updates. So someone has a question about in the chat about what version they have. If you aren't familiar, you can open up, if you see a string of numbers listed on the central touch screen, you may end up having something different if you open up your mobile app on your phone, the mobile Fisker app. There's a little action sheet at the bottom of the app where you can swipe up. I believe Matt did a really good video on that. I don't have it handy, but on his channel, which is at the top of the comment stream, he has a video, I believe, where he actually walks you through and shows you how to swipe up and look at your version number. Now, if you don't have the latest software version, Fisker did say over Christmas time there were like 3 or 4 different groups of people and which tranche or which group they fell into based on the software on their vehicle. Now, if you were in groups, I believe like 1 and 2, possibly even 3, over time, your software will catch up and you'll be able to have an automatic over-the-air update. If you happen to be in like the last tranche, the last group, you would actually need a mobile service technician to visit your house to update each of those modules that we previously talked about, because they won't be able to support an over-the-air update. So that may be what some people have to do if they don't experience the most recent up to version 1.11. And not everybody has version 1.11 yet, just so you know. Some do, some don't. Some have part 1, others have part 2. So that's kind of where we are right now. Now let's move on to this one. This one I think is kind of fun, and we have actually a few hosts for Fisker Ocean meetups in the chat right now. So welcome everybody. Franklin, Kevin, those are the only 2 people joining us that I've seen, but I probably missed somebody. But let's talk about that real quick. This was actually some exciting stuff that we've been working on. I should mention probably the most, the person that I know was going to be on here who's hosting a meetup is Matt. He's hosting one in Raleigh, North Carolina. He's got a big group of people
what are we up
coming
to?
out.
60?
You are, as of right this minute, actually not right this minute, but before the show started, you are currently up to 61 people. We're at 1,170 attendees across 23 meetups spanning 15 states. There's going to be 23 meetups for Fisker Ocean enthusiasts, Fisker Ocean owners, people that are interested in buying a Fisker Ocean. You're going to be able to, in some places, test drive a Fisker Ocean if you don't have one. You're going to be able to speak to existing Fisker Ocean owners. Fisker announced today, and I was super excited. As Matt knows, I've probably been putting a lot of work into doing this. I've been putting a lot of work into doing this in my spare time, trying to find owners to host these events throughout the United States. And it's not easy, I'll tell you. It's not easy to find people who are reliable that want to actually meet other Fisker Ocean owners in their community. But there are 23 trustworthy individuals who are very interested in meeting others in their community to try to grow the Fisker community in their city, their local community. And that's what this is all about. It's trying to build a community, not just in Southern California, but across the nation. And next time we do this, I see this only getting bigger. We're going to go Canada. We're going to go Germany. We're going to go, France, UK. Everywhere where the Fisker Ocean is, there's going to be meetups on the next one. It's going to be big. When? Who knows? But it's exciting. Fisker is fully supporting this. They did a press release earlier today about it. They're doing this. They've grabbed the bull by the horns, and they're going to have a Fisker employee at each one of these. Previously, I was going to cover all the coffee and the donuts, the bagels at each of these places. Now Fisker's going to hook me up, and they're going to cover that. So thank you very much. That was greatly appreciated. So they're going to have employees at each of these, which is going to be nice for people who are existing Fisker customers. Great for people who want to become Fisker customers. There's going to be at some events, we don't know which ones yet. I might find out later today or tomorrow, where Fisker's going to offer mobile service technicians to come out, technicians to answer technical questions, maybe even to do software updates on vehicles. They're going to come with their laptops that both Mike and Matt talked about. So it's going to be quite interesting. Some events might not have technicians. Others might have 1, 2, 3 possibly. Now we have these 23 events. The top 3 events right now based on attendees who have RSVP'd happens to be Trenton, New Jersey, number 1, with 123 RSVPs. Wow. We have San Diego as of right now with 117 RSVPs. And my friend George up in Los Altos, he's got 116 RSVPs. Wow. So those are the top 3. The next one, still quite considerable, 102 over in Atlanta. We have 93 people coming out to Tyson's Corner, 79 right now over in Orlando, Tampa 65. The numbers are crazy. It's a really cool experience. The first 5 that I've done here in Southern California, we only had like 60, 61 RSVPs, and we ended up getting out about 20 plus, I want to say 23 Fisker Oceans at the last meetup over in Tustin. And then the previous one, we did that over in San Clemente. I think it had like 13. And then the one that we had over at the Torrey Pines meetup when Fisker did their test drive event, that had like 5 or 6 owners show up. And the one before that, I believe it was me and Paul over in Rancho Santa Fe at the Cars and Coffee that had 2 Fisker Oceans. So each one of these has grown exponentially, and I just see it continuing as the community grows. So it's super exciting. It's a way for new people to learn about the Fisker Ocean. It creates brand awareness. It helps sell Fisker Oceans, and it builds community, which is the most important thing. That's why I do this. It's fun. It's still a hobby. It's a blast. As I told Mike earlier before we started the show, I'm going to keep doing this as long as it's fun. As soon as it's not fun, I'm not doing it, as I'm sure the both of you would probably the same, right? It's fun, and building the community is the most fun part about it, in my opinion. So that's kind of it. That's the update on the Fisker meetup. So there's 23. Let me rattle off the cities, and then Mike, I'd love to hear you have something that looks like you want to say about the meetups. Here's all the locations for the 90 plus people. It's like 100 people now, maybe 98 people watching us. Almost back to the good old times when we had hundreds of people watching this, when we did this every week now on Wednesdays. Okay, here we go. Here are the cities that these are taking place. San Diego, Manhattan Beach, and I should say that's a Fisker headquarters event, not too far north of there in Pasadena. Now, people are saying, why one in Pasadena? Traffic's a nightmare in LA. So while it seems close, I thought it was really close. Like, why do you need 2? It's actually not fun to drive that distance. So people up near the Pasadena area or north of that won't want to come down to Manhattan Beach. So there's 2 there. So you have Manhattan Beach, San Diego, Manhattan Beach. You have Pasadena, Los Altos, being hosted by George, Portland, Seattle, Scottsdale, Las Vegas, Reno, the Denver, Boulder area where it's probably going to be snowing. So you need snow tires for that one. You have Dallas, Houston. Kevin's on the chat with us right now from Houston. He has like 30, what did I say in the chat? It's like 30, already forgot. It's like 33 people, somewhere around there, 27, 33, I think 33 people. We have, let's see here, Chicago. That's going to be a good meetup. That has 30 people so far. We have Detroit over in the West Bloomfield area. And Detroit has a huge EV community, especially in West Bloomfield. So that should be a good one. Nashville, Atlanta. Atlanta's going to be interesting. That one's near 100 RSVPs. We have Orlando, Tampa Bay, Miami, South Miami. So that's another one where I thought we should have 1, but we have 2 because people don't like to drive, I guess, in Miami. I don't know. And then we have Raleigh. That one's yours, Matt. Tyson's Corner and Trenton. Those are all of the locations. I've had people come asking over the last 2 weeks for one in New York, one in, I think, Albuquerque, New Mexico. and a couple other places. But it's just too close, and we don't have time to help get the word out on those ones. So that's kind of where we're at. If you're interested in being a part of this, joining any of these meetups, you can go to fiskerati.com/meetup. So that's it. And I'll throw one more thing out there for you. You may end up getting some Fisker merch if you go. You might get a goodie bag. That's what I've heard. Actually, that's what I read today, but I've also heard that too. So there you go. That's it. What are you guys' thoughts on these meetups?
Yeah, what I was going to say before you got me really excited about it, honestly, because you brought it up earlier before this invite to your show, and when you were talking about the meetup, I just kept thinking how great Jacksonville, Florida would be for a meetup, just because of our central location to South Carolina, Georgia. Even, I mean, if you 3 hours, you got Alabama, but myself, I've seen several Fisker Oceans on the Navy base, so I know it's popular in the military. And then Ponte Vedra, we have in the chat some in Ponte Vedra, which is pretty much Jacksonville. That's our neighbors right there. So I recently helped a Fisker Ocean 1 owner who asked if it was all right to come over and, ask some questions about Fisker Oceans. And me, I love fielding questions. So when you were talking about people who love to meet other owners, I would definitely be interested in being a host, seeing whatever is necessary just to get people together.
Yeah, let's do it next time. Next time we'll get one going there in Jacksonville. You'll run it, and we'll help market it and get the word out there for you.
And somebody mentioned in the chat Asheville, North Carolina. That is such a beautiful area. I couldn't imagine having to meet there. Like maybe even do it at the mansion. What is that?
And that's
what
like
is that mansion called?
That's 3 hours from where I am, since North Carolina is such a big state.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Such an important state too. Such an important state. That's I love North Carolina. Beautiful place. But Matt, are you excited? You gotta. Hopefully, this is like we said. I'm going to talk about Fisker Ocean sightings next, and I mentioned the other day that I saw 2. I wrote an article. I saw 2 in one day. I keep seeing one every day. I saw 2 in one day. Got excited, and I thought, you know what? I'd be super excited if I saw 3. I'll share more about that here in just a minute. But Matt, you're going to end up having. My guess is at least 20 Oceans show up based on the people who've RSVP'd. That's going to be a pretty cool sight to see.
Yeah, I'm excited. If we get, I guess, final information about, who from Fisker is going to be at these events, I'm waiting for that. So, but I'll have a plan B just in case.
Oh, don't worry. You don't need a plan B. You don't need a plan B. Fisker's coming through on this one.
All right.
They did a press release about it today. They're coming through on this one. So, it'll be a good time. I think we're all going to be pleasantly surprised. It'll be good. So stay tuned to your email. You'll get an update soon. But yeah, super excited about that. Go to fiskerati.com/meetup. It's going to be a heck of an experience, and I can't wait to see what this one's going to turn out to be. But then hopefully the one after that, maybe we'll end up with 30 meetups, or maybe even more than that. So that's super cool. Speaking of Fisker Oceans in one place, though, I actually did an article yesterday, the day before, because I couldn't think of anything to write about. And I went out for a drive and I saw a Fisker Ocean. And then I thought, oh my God, I haven't written anything about spotting Fisker Oceans or Fisker Ocean sightings. And then lo and behold, like literally 2 or 3 minutes later, a mile or 2 down the street, I saw another one. I saw the owner turn into a parking lot at one of my favorite parks that I used to play tennis at all the time. And I tried to get over there. I was stuck at a red light. I couldn't get over there. And by the time I got there, they had already exited their vehicle. But I wanted to chat with them because it's fun to meet other owners. I hope those 2 owners show up. But here is one of the Fisker Oceans that I saw. In fact, this is the first Fisker Ocean I saw to start the day, and it happened to be a Fisker Ocean in great white with Aero Stealth wheels and sea salt interior. I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. The neat thing about this one is it actually is either extreme, ultra, or sport. I think it's probably an extreme, but it could be a Ocean Ultra or Ocean Sport because it didn't have the emblem over on the right, or the individual like myself removed the one emblem over on the right. However, I got some news for everybody. I'm going to be adding in the Ocean 1 logo on the back of my car. I just have to get the measurements exactly right when I replace it, because my dad helped me yesterday make them totally, I totally blacked them out with special paint. So we basically airbrushed them out. Many coats look beautiful. And not only did I do that one logo, I also did the letters OCEAN. So it's gonna look hopefully super beautiful. And that's the next surprise at the next meetup. Hopefully I for sure will have the Ocean lettering back on. Don't know if I'll have the one lettering back on by then, but maybe I'll use the Oceans that come to the event to guesstimate or eyeball where I should put the one logo back. So anyhow, that's kind of exciting. Now that's the first Fisker Ocean I saw. Speaking of Fisker Ocean sightings, here is the second one that I ended up seeing. And this one was a Mariana exterior, and it had slipstream wheels. I didn't get close enough to see what the interior was, but it super cool. And I blacked out the license plate on that one, as I'm sure they don't want people to know that they're in Encinitas. But anyhow, that was a Fisker Ocean 1. That one was super cool to see, literally minutes after the other one. And then I published the article. Those were the two that I included. And I said, well, there's still time left. I published the article around noon. And then I thought, you know what? Something tells me I'm going to see another one. Okay, I'm out and about. Lo and behold, what do I see? I see a third one. I saw a third one. This one's in silver lining. What in the heck are the chances of that? I don't think that's good odds, but I saw 3 on the same day. I usually see 1 a day. 3 in the same day. So Fisker Oceans, while they might not be taking over your city, they're starting to take over our city, which is actually pretty cool. And my hope is eventually they take over everyone's city, as hopefully everybody that's a customer, a shareholder, a stakeholder, that's the experience that we all get to live. Fisker Oceans everywhere. So that's pretty neat. Now, Matt, you said you haven't seen any in your neck of the woods, or very rarely you see them, right?
I haven't seen any in the wild. The only ones are the ones of people that I've invited to my house or for events. I've been doing videos and stuff like that. I don't know if you've seen I did the Ultra versus Extreme comparison.
Oh yeah, I'm going to ask you about that next. Yeah. That's our next up. Before we dive into that, because that to me is quite fascinating. Mike, you mentioned you've seen some on your Navy base. Have you seen any driving around outside of the base or just around town?
Yeah, so it's funny. Navy guys, we have a lot of camaraderie and or military people in general. And one of the things I kept walking to my workspace, and they're like, "Hey, we saw an Ocean out there. Thought it was you, but it was a darker color." And I'm like, "Stop!" I said, "Did you take a picture?" I said, because I'm trying to find other Ocean owners, and they were describing Mariana, Big Sur Blue, and another blue planet. And so I went on the hunt, and I found these vehicles kind of parked around Navy Jacksonville. So ultimately I did find them. The gentleman who came to my house the other day, he had silver lining. One of the Ocean 1 owners who actually was gracious enough to come to my house before mine was delivered, he had a blue planet here in Jacksonville. He's actually just down the street.
Oh,
and,
nice.
He had the F5s, and it looked beautiful with the black interior. So I know that there's a couple, and I'm actually confident I'm going to find at least 2 or 3 at they call it Caffeine and Octane now here, but it used to be Cars and Coffee. I don't know if they've changed that everywhere, but they call it Electric Avenue. So I'm kind of excited to get them together, and hopefully we can get a Fiskerati meet for Jacksonville, Florida.
And that's this weekend, right? Your Caffeine, Octane,
Saturday.
Caffeine, whatever it's called, Saturday. Yep. Okay. So that'll be quite fun. I can guarantee everybody. Now I'm going to end the poll. There's been a poll, and we had 75 people vote in the poll. I'm going to end it right now. The fun thing, and hopefully the results show up. There they go. The cool thing. So I can guarantee you, if you attend one of these Fisker Ocean meetups, you will meet Fisker Ocean owners. You will see Fisker Oceans. You'll see various configurations of the Fisker Ocean, from exterior colors, interior options, wheel options. You'll see it all. I asked the question earlier today, will you be attending a Fisker Ocean meetup on January 20th? Well, 43% said no. 34% said yes, and 25% said maybe. There were 75 votes. So there you have it. Hopefully we can convert a lot of the no's to yeses, or at least maybes, and maybe they'll check it out. But there you have it. That's the poll. Now, Matt, tell us all about the Ocean Ultra. I watched your video. It's like 30 minutes.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
I really love seeing the two things I really enjoyed seeing. But there was a lot of differences that you can talk about. But the two that I personally liked was seeing the open sky roof. I thought that was super beautiful. I liked how you actually didn't have the solar panel obstructing the view. It opened up just as wide. It looked really, really, really nice. And then I'm blanking on the second thing that I really liked, but that was the one that just totally, blew my mind. And one of the reasons why I love the Fisker Ocean is California mode and the roof opening up. I've had only one other car that's had a roof open up big, but not as big as the Fisker Ocean. If my mind comes to me as you rattle off some of the differences, I'll say, oh yeah, that one.
Yeah. So I think Chris, he's a local Fisker owner who just got his at the end of December. So I guess I think probably the first Ultra in this area that I know of, and the first seagrass that I've seen. And I know you saw seagrass, and it's a very unique color. I thought that was really nice. And I thought I was prepared to find differences. I found out after reading all the comments, there's a bunch of things I didn't catch. But there were some things we couldn't do because it was bright outside. Some people want to ask about the ambient lighting, and I couldn't really make a compare it and tell on that because it was daytime. But like you said, the biggest differences we saw was the brake calipers are painted on the Extreme or One with that teal color, and for the Ultra and Sport, they're going to be unpainted aluminum. So it's just a bare metal look. Then we looked at the roof, the two different kinds of roof. And like I showed in the video, it's the same roof.
Opened them up at the same time.
Yep.
With the key fob. Yep.
And they open at the same time, and it's the same mechanism, same everything. It just doesn't have the solar panel in the glass. And I also showed a view from underneath. It seemed to be well tinted. So
I thought of the other thing I thought of the other thing that I loved. I have to spit it out. It was the Black Abyss interior, the fabric. We had never seen that. That's the first time
we have seen that.
Yes. That was the other thing that I was like, oh, I felt that stuff on the wall at the Fisker Lounge, but I've actually never seen anything of it. That was the other thing that I just thought.
Yes.
Okay, sorry to interrupt.
No. That was I think the
that was the biggest. Thing. Yeah, that was big to me.
Besides the roof, I thought that was the second biggest. And also noticing a few differences with the taco trays. There's a passenger taco tray, but there's not the driver taco tray in the Ultra or Sport. And in the back seat, there's no limo mode, so there's no button for the seat recline, and there's no little display on the armrest. So it just has the cup holder that pops out. But the fabric seemed nice, and like I said in the video, it's the same seats. It's just covered in fabric instead of the vegan leather and Alcantara. So it felt pretty nice. It had a nice texture to it. So looks like it would stay pretty nice and clean. It has a nice, a thick weave to it, so pretty nice. What else did we see? A lot of things were common.
Was it scratchy? Sorry.
No, it didn't feel scratchy.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to describe it. It almost felt like some of the Volvo interiors that have the wool seats, fabric seats. It almost feels like that fabric. But we were surprised how many things were in common too. Like it has California mode. It had all of the, I guess there's option for the cargo area, the privacy screen. He got that option, and the floor, the cargo floor, I think is included now. So he said that, I think that was included. Another big difference was the sequence for the unlock sequence. He doesn't have lights across the front. He doesn't have the Fisker logo, or the Fisker Ocean name doesn't light up. And I think that
did the rear light up?
I couldn't really tell in the sun.
Yeah, it's too hard.
I have
probably
to ask about that, but
yeah.
And a lot of it we were looking at the front for the unlock.
That actually surprised me a little bit.
Yeah.
A lot of people have started really raising that desire to have that lighting sequence. I wonder if it's built in.
I saw your post about that, and I can't believe the people who are like, don't talk about that. There's more important things to do. It's like, you can talk about anything. It doesn't stop Fisker from doing stuff by talking about it in a group.
Yes.
I thought that was kind of silly.
Just so people know, anything we talk about has really
no
like
effect.
You said, Fisker, no effect, exactly. Fisker will do what Fisker wants to do, regardless of what videos or articles we write. But it's fun to write about it, and maybe it gives them ideas, maybe, to do things. But that's about it.
Another thing that I want to say is, well, he doesn't want to let people know about, but I know other ultras have said this too, is that there are some features software-wise that are working that shouldn't be working.
But those could be bonus, though. Those could be bonus. Like it could be, hey, you're an early supporter still. Yeah. We're hooking you up. And that wouldn't make me unhappy as an Extreme or a one owner. I'd be super stoked.
And a very important thing that I missed was the difference between the audio systems. The Extreme and One have a more advanced audio system with more speakers in the subwoofer, and the Ultra doesn't. Unfortunately, I totally blanked out. I didn't remember to check. But it's also hard to compare two stereos like that in just listening and trying to present it in a video. I don't really think you could really tell any difference, but
I tried playing the stereo once in a video, and it does. I had the bass all the way up, cranked all the way in the rear, cranked up to like 40 or whatever it goes to. My ears are blasted, and you couldn't even tell in the video. I was like, I'll still post it, and it was.
But that is a big difference. I guess the audio system is a big difference. I'm trying to think if there were any others off the top of my head. Most everything was pretty minor. But for the most part, for the price, he gets a lot of bang for the buck for the Ultra.
And that's $52,900 now, $999, I think.
Yeah,
something like that. So yeah, that's pretty good. Pretty
now,
good.
Were the features that he elected for, were they all included in there?
Yeah, he opted for the paint color, and the wheels were upgraded, and the privacy screen. And that's all he did. And I think I also showed he didn't do the tow hitch option. So I showed a picture of what the tow hitch looks like with and without. It's a different panel on the lower bumper. So, but I was mentioning that that's something that could be added later. If you did want to have a hitch added to the car, that's an after factory thing you could do. So I think you could eventually. Fisker may have that as an option to get, and you can have it installed by, for example, a mobile tech or a service center.
Actually, ask that question.
They can't put the electrical in, but they can just do the tow hitch. Because there's some people who are shipped without them, which is not great.
I had asked that question because I want the tow hitch just for the bike, to throw a bike on the back. And they did answer that coming in the future, you could get the tow hitch without electrical, and that's a pretty easy install. But with electrical is kind of a factory issue. So I know that was when I was fortunate enough to upgrade to that was the one thing that was missing from the extreme order I had was the tow hitch. I was just like, you know what? I'll have faith that I can get it later on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's good to hear. So speaking of ultras and sports, there's actually a shipment of that has recently arrived here in Southern California, and I was informed that there should be ultras and sports at the lot at I'm going to call it Fisker Center Plus San Diego, even though it's Vista, California. But they're going to be there. So I'm going to head over there. I was told middle of the month, but it could be there as early as tomorrow. So if I have time, I might run down there tomorrow just to figure out where to place my one emblem back on the car. Maybe there's specific measurements, so I'll figure that one out. But I'd love to see an Ocean Sport in person and see kind of what that looks like with the big sky roof, and just kind of tinker. Maybe they'll have some more new colors there, or exterior colors. Get to maybe feel the eco fabric. I don't think they call it eco fabric anymore, but the Black Abyss plus fabric option. I'd love to feel what that looks like and sit in it, see how comfortable it is. So can't wait to do that. I'll make a video on that one and post it to the channel. But that should be here in the next week. So that video will soon hopefully drop once those hit the lot. And maybe somebody can shoot me an email that works at Fisker telling me that the cars are there, that works at the Vista location to save myself a trip. They probably won't, but if they watch this, that'd be nice. Thank you very much in advance for doing so. On top of that, we have some other interesting news. We have for people who are shareholders of Fisker, Fisker in general, Fisker got a new chief accounting officer earlier this week. Fisker announced Angel Salinas as its new chief accounting officer, effective immediately, relocating from Texas to California. Salinas takes over from his predecessor, who lasted a short 2 weeks back in November of 2023. With over 20 years of experience as an assurance partner at PricewaterhouseCoopers, Salinas joins the Fisker team and will report to CFO Dr. Geeta Gupta-Fisker. Since November, as many people know, Fisker has been busy enhancing its finance and accounting capabilities to improve its internal controls. The company recently hired several new senior leaders, including Alex Burr as VP Finance and Controller Operations and Eric Sand as the Corporate Controller, leveraging decades of experience in managing financial processes. Furthermore, Dan Quirk, a seasoned professional with over 30 years of experience at Ernst & Young, joined as the EVP of Finance and Accounting. So there's your Fisker corporate update for you, for those that are interested. Now, the last thing that I thought was kind of interesting for news of 2024 is Fisker's sponsorship. They have an official sponsorship of they're an automotive sponsor of the Art of Elysium and their Heaven 2024 Gala. I published an article about that, I don't know, yesterday or the day before. And that included some photos of celebrities. So I saw Jason Segel. He was delivered to the gala in a Fisker Ocean, along with some other notable VIPs, at least that I recognized, including Joseph Gordon-Levitt, John Hamm, Patton Oswalt, Nick Acosta, and Mira Sorvino, if I probably butchered her last name. But anyhow, those were the celebrities that I saw. There was at least a dozen or so that were in Fisker's press release, but they attended the event driven there in a Fisker Ocean. The most notable, I think, were, supermodels, if you want to call it that, Heidi Klum and her daughter, the dynamic duo of models, I guess. And they were photographed and filmed with the Fisker Ocean. en route to the event, singing in the back seat of the Fisker Ocean, which I thought was kind of cool. I posted that clip, and that clip was actually published by E! News Entertainment, or E! News, E! exclamation point, news, for those that are into the Fisker, or into the celebrity Hollywood, scene. Another one for those that follow it, All Access. That's a popular one out here in California. I don't know if that's all over the country, but those two were caught in the Fisker Ocean, and they were having a great time, and posted the video online. So that was kind of a neat way to see celebrities getting, in the mix of the Fisker Ocean. And Fisker, people say, why did they sponsor this? Well, it's a charity event, a way for Fisker to give back to the Los Angeles community. So it's a charity event, and Fisker does a lot of giving back to their local community over the last Christmas break. For those Christmas holiday, they partnered again with, I believe it was the Salvation Army. Hopefully I didn't butcher that one. I think it was the Salvation Army, giving canned goods and other items in need to their local community at all those different locations. So that was actually another nice gesture that they've done as far as local charity goes. So pretty neat to see that. That actually is one of the last things I think on my list of things to chat about. Do you two have anything that you wanted to chat about tonight about Fisker Ocean? What's going on anywhere? Anything interesting in your neck of the woods?
Yeah, I made a short video, very amped up about how excited I was for Mr. Salinas. I'll be honest, like I'm a business-minded person, so I tend to dwell on some of the smaller things, like a CAO of a company, and my wife, she's a COO of a company, and she goes, "Why do they have a CAO when they have a CFO?" And I said, well, when you're that big, a CAO is actually kind of required for to be under the umbrella of the CFO. But kind of back to Mr. Salinas, yeah, I'm a big LinkedIn person, and his record is phenomenal. And I think what Fisker really needed was that SEC specialty. So that's something that he's got a lot of experience working with the SEC, making sure transparency is there. And, what I see is Fisker saying, hey, all cards are on the table. We want to do the right thing. We want to make sure that what had happened in the past, we understand everyone makes mistakes. Let that kind of be forgiven, and let's move forward together. And Mr. Salinas joining the team, he's got a lot of experience, and he definitely sees what we see in Fisker as owners. He sees a great product. He sees a company that can move forward. All his experience, as a CAO, you just got to be able to understand numbers and people. And that company had 328,000 employees, and he was over several countries. So I think this is really great for Fisker. I really wish him the best of professional luck, or that he does great things for Henrik and the team. That's my take. I just wanted to touch back on that.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. Add a little bit more light. I go on LinkedIn every now and again, but don't really spend too much time on there. So that's good to hear about that. I'll have to check that one out. I saw your video, and I think you showed a little brief clip of his LinkedIn profile.
Yes.
What do you got, Matt? You got any shout outs you want to do or anything?
Yeah. I must say, this weekend coming up Saturday, we have Cars and Coffee in our area has an event. The Cars and Coffee of Morrisville is one of the largest on the East Coast. I think we sometimes get like 10,000 people. It's
Holy
like
moly.
Yeah, and it's spread over multiple buildings and parking lots, and it's giant. So we went last month. but it was raining, and unfortunately, there was three of us, three ocean owners there, and we had a good time anyway. We opened up the lift gate and stayed under there and stayed dry. So that was
there you go.
That was good. But we are planning to do it again on Saturday morning, and kind of like a little preliminary meetup again for the big one in the following week. That's also not that far. I think it's only about 15 minutes away from that location in Cary.
Nice.
So that would be fun. And the weather is, I think, supposed to be nice. So looking forward to that. As far as some stuff I'm working on, I have a interesting video on something I know people have been asking about, is about changing the ambient lighting colors. Right now it's white. Well, I have been talking with a guy on the Ocean Forums website, and we've been kind of like going back and forth, coming up with ideas, and he had a method, and then I had a little brainstorm, and I'm going to be doing a video on this, and it's a fairly easy DIY method to get colors on your ambient light. So that should be a fun video.
Yeah. There's a person in the forum who actually did some DIY and added a Apple CarPlay device, and Dominic's actually hosting the event over in Scottsdale. So it'll be interesting for people that go there. They'll be able to see a DIY Apple CarPlay edition to the Fisker Ocean. I thought that's kind of neat. So he said he was going to publish some more information about how he did it and how all that stuff is. So I'm sure I don't know what you have in store. I know you have all sorts of stuff in store.
A how-to. I'll give all the instructions if people can do it themselves. And and it should be fun. And I've been trying to come out with new videos every 3 days, and it's amazing. There's so many ideas that I have. I'm working on stuff that it's like a backlog. So
it's great. I love following your channel. I love following Mike's channel. You guys come up with some good stuff. So if people aren't following their channels yet, I don't know, Mike, did you post a link to yours in the comments? If you haven't, post one there. But it's fun to see all the stuff you're doing. You definitely have a lot more. You're definitely a lot more savvy than I am as far as tinkering with your car. Every time I tinker with my car, I'm afraid I'm going to break something. So I usually don't tinker with it. One update that somebody did on the forum that I thought was really clever, that looked really professional, like it was built in the car, was the buttons above their visor for the garage door opener, to open up. I thought the home link, if you want to call it that, but a beautiful installation, and cutting into the I don't know if it's the visor, the roof liner. That gave me a heart attack if I did that.
I haven't been that brave to do that yet. So
that's a brave one, but I like that customization. That's a really good one. Yeah. So it's fun to see that stuff. So I look forward to continuing seeing your videos. And if there's something to talk about next week, we will go ahead and do this again. Like if there's ever anything to talk about, we'll jump on. So hopefully something exciting. If not, everybody, hope you enjoy the meetups and get to talk to your Fisker representative that shows up. That'll be quite fun. Maybe a technician, maybe some goodies. You'll get to score if you go. But that'll do it for episode 37 of All Things Fisker. Mike, thanks for joining us. Matt, as always, thanks for joining us here. And everybody have a great rest of your week and a good weekend. We'll talk to you later. Take care.